Now that we're already here, let me come back to you, Honorable Rigathi. This issue of SRC and your 250,000 monthly house allowance. So the fact that you have tabled it in this upcoming budget, which is to be read on Thursday, approval is going to happen on Wednesday by CS Rotich. And that's where you've already factored that into the budget. So what if CS Rotich says otherwise? The money will go elsewhere. You see, what happens when you factor money, it is a budgetary provision for use for a certain purpose. If for one reason or another that money cannot be expended, you cannot use it, it will be reallocated. If the courts were to make a decision that this allowance is not payable and money had already been factored by Parliament, then Parliament would reallocate that money to something else. But it would be very difficult, it would be actually very bad if the money was not factored and then the courts ruled that the allowance is payable, then you wouldn't have somewhere to pay the money from. So I think Parliament, is quite right to provide for the money, and the money is there, and wait for the ruling, depending on the way the ruling goes. If the ruling goes that we need to pay this money, we just go ahead and pay.
Okay, and as you give your last thoughts on this, because these are your last thoughts, there's an SMS here from Joseph Simeha, who is now with Inform Action. You may have known him before with NASA, where he says, let's assume the law entitles MPs to additional remuneration in the name of house allowance. Does the law allow them to set the amounts themselves? So,
yeah,
so please weigh in on that as
thank you very much.
Your final thoughts.
First, I want to give a brief background or the process of budget making. We are now under presidential system. Under presidential system, Parliament is a budget making house, and it's bottom-up approach. For instance, in these matters of salary or whatever remuneration it is, it's not parliamentarians. There's a difference between Parliamentary Service Commission and parliamentarians. I want Kenyans to understand. So we don't set up the 250,000. It's not parliamentarians who decided. It's the Parliamentary Service Commission who is the employer. And this is an independent commission.
The Parliamentary Service Commission?
Parliamentary Service Commission is constituted, the chair is the Speaker of the National Assembly.
Okay, who is an MP, which you walked us through just now?
He's the Speaker. The clerk is, the secretary is the clerk of the Senate. We also have representation from outsiders. SRC also sits on that. So it's an independent commission. It's not just composed of parliamentarians. And we want Kenyans to know, we also have commissioners who are outsiders from the public service. So this is an independent commission, just like any other commission like SRC, on the basis of Chapter 15. So when it comes to deciding on the salaries or whatever the benefits are, or whatever the house allowance, it's not parliamentarians who decided. I want Kenyans to know there's a difference between Parliamentary Service Commission and parliamentarians. And when we talk about Parliamentary Service Commission, as per Article 127, they are supposed to provide services that will ensure parliamentarians operate effectively and efficiently. If I'm coming from Kitale in my constituency and come to Nairobi, they should be able to know where am I going to stay for me to be able to come to Parliament and legislate. So that is the work of a Parliamentary Service Commission. They are the ones who make decisions. So the 250,000, it is you to ask them how they decided. It's not us who decided. And it's important to demystify that.
Okay.
Now,
briefly,
secondly,
please, as you wrap up, yes.
Yeah. Secondly, the other question you asked was...
I asked about the amount set. And this was a question from Joseph Simeha, where he basically put it as, if the law entitles MPs to receive remuneration, does the law also allow them to set the amount themselves through the PSC?
Now, I've said this. Parliamentary Service Commission is our employer. And we are also entitled, and based on the, when a court has made a decision, and nobody has challenged that, it becomes part and parcel of our laws.
SRC has challenged.
No. It never challenged. I'm talking about the deputy governors. When they went to court on a matter of house allowance, because they were state officers, the court made a ruling, made a determination that any other state officer is also supposed to enjoy the benefit of house allowance, just like other state officers.
So why couldn't you wait for SRC? Why couldn't you wait for SRC to then set those allowances
themselves? You cannot wait. No.
Why?
I wish you give me time.
We would not be having
I wish you give me time. Based on that judgment, nobody appealed against that. So that is part and parcel of our laws, that every state officer is entitled to house allowance. Now, coming into the issues of how much you should be able to get, it is the Parliamentary Service Commission, and they started together with SRC. And they didn't just decide 250 from anywhere. There was a comparative analysis that was done.
Okay.
Speaker is a member of parliament. He's based on a certain amount. Okay? So they did it on a pro rata basis. Then they realized that it is fit, a parliamentarian based on his level, he should be able to get the 250.
So if that 250 is slashed by half, would you still take it?
Pardon?
If that 250 is slashed by half, would you still take it?
It's the employer giving me. Whatever they decide, I'll take it.
Okay.
I have no role, by the way, when it comes to determining the amount. So we need to distinguish between Parliamentary Service Commission and parliamentarians.
Okay. Thank you. You made that clear, Senator. Briefly, please.
I think I want to agree with what my colleagues have said. And and I know members of parliament are some of the state officers that can be easily bashed because of many from different aspects. But what I want to say, SRC and Parliamentary Service Commission are two independent commissions. There is no one that is superior over the other, and they are supposed to set some of these salaries, remuneration, the benefits that we are seeing. But what we are proposing, and you had Leader of Majority yesterday in the National Assembly say, Adan Duale, that if the issue of house allowance, Kenyans feel that it is too much of a privilege, then we should scrap in the public service of this country. And secondly, as my brother Olwocha said, that if it happens, we can now make sure leadership is now voluntary. Say that when you are running for any seat, Kenyans can say now, anybody who serves in the leadership position, be it a legislator, be it a governor or anybody, should only be given stipend, and they should only not earn any salary. So that at the end of the day, because all these issues about what MPs earn is an issue that the media and SRC, which is competing, is now, you know, the problem with SRC are now competing with politicians. They think by attacking members of parliament, they are making them popular with Kenyans. They are making them popular. They are competing for popularity ratings through the media and other forums. I wish they should be telling Kenyans, because as I conclude, the issue of labor, there was Labor Day the other day, although they turned it into NASA. I don't want to go to that. They should be telling Kenyans that earn the lowest income. They should be negotiating with employers on how to improve the earnings of even people in the private sector like you, even people who earn from the private sector, who earn through international or international organizations through, so that even protect Kenyans, so that they can have a pay that they can take a pay that can take to Kenyans and ensure that our families and everybody, Kenyans, everybody, if it takes even 10,000 shillings or even 100,000, they are happy to earn such money.
Okay, fair enough. 1 minute, please.
Yes.
Give us your last
there are many circumstances in the Constitution under the fourth schedule where the Constitution contemplates shared roles. And this is very clear. There are issues to do with, for example, health, mostly devolved, but there are some that are retained at the national government. On this issue, I want to submit that on the question of salaries, it's exclusive jurisdiction of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission.
And benefits.
The provisions that you read.
Yes.
On the issue of benefits, because it says salaries and benefits, on the issue of benefits, you need to read the provision of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission role and read it together with Article 127 that speaks to the role of Parliamentary Service Commission. They provide the enabling environment to enable you to be able to discharge your duty. This issue speaks to how you get to work on the issue of mileage. Nobody questions why members of parliament get mileage, because they need to be enabled to come to their place of work. The issue of allowance speaks to the question of a shared role between the Parliamentary Service Commission and Salaries and Remuneration. And you cannot, unless you want to remove that constitutional tension through a referendum, then you cannot fault Parliamentary Service Commission being able to say, we will provide house allowance.
Well, gentlemen, that's where our time comes to an end. That has been Honorable Anthony Olwoch, Member of Parliament for Mathare. We also had Chris Omala, Member of Parliament for Kiminini, Samson Cherargei, Senator for Nandi County, as well as Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Member of Parliament for Mathare. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this Monday morning.